Though I am not far from home, I'm not doing this alone, 'cause I don't know anything about Nuzlocke, there's no doubts. I'm joined by Zito. He might change my mind if he tries. He'll share what he knows to educate my helpless mind. So thank you, Zito. This
I
is a
drew a comic
Nuzlocke
about
new
one once.
Kirblog. You got the good theme song. My
I got the
God.
oh
Yeah, you
oh
don't.
damn.
And you're sitting over there being like, I don't know what fucking season that is. Welcome everybody.
Well, I
God.
kind of I kind of stopped at Orange Islands because I thought those sucked.
Well, that's unfortunate because I hear
I know,
Battle
I know,
Frontier is all the rage. Anyway,
I know it gets better as it goes along. But then I remembered I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I play the video games. Why the fuck do I need to watch the anime?
because you need to consume all of everything of Pokemon all day, and every orifice of everything, the cards, the games, the shows,
Hey
the
man, I'm
toys.
the asshole you asked to come here and talk about Nuzlocke. All right,
That's
so
true.
you can tell you can't tell me otherwise.
That is a perfectly fair point. Well, I mean, what an intro, song and berating and Zito. Good. Hi, welcome everybody. Pokecember continues, and I suppose you already know what we're going to talk about today. This is what was the last time I had you on? Was it for the Parody Rangers Kirblog?
Yes, it was.
That's right.
Yes, it
Yeah, that was
was.
a while ago. Was that this year or was it a while ago? I don't even remember. My God.
It was this year. I know that for
Okay.
certain.
Well, nonetheless, so I wanted to when I was thinking about different subjects to talk about for Pokecember this year that we had not done or that I had not done the previous year. I think actually it was Steve Yurko that was talking about Nuzlocks, and then I thought like, oh, actually that'd be a really good one to do. And then I thought immediately, oh, well, Zito is actually pretty knowledgeable when it comes to Pokemon Nuzlocke, so I thought he'd be the perfect guest for this. So, well, as I'm kind of doing now with our new guest this year, Christopher. Well, first of all, I mean, people. I mean, it's funny because now, as opposed to like, oh, don't might know you for stuff like voicing on Parody Rangers and other shit like that, and now people would probably know you best for the Team4Star gaming channel and yes, Love Adventure Go.
Yes.
Yes, Love Adventure Go. There's two there. You should remember the name of your.
Ha!
I.
It's on hiatus right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you guys are playing Persona
Oh no,
4.
we did that on purpose because we wanted to play Persona 4, yeah.
Yes. Um,
Because a good dating sim has to can't be mired by a bad dating sim.
it's like Pokemon with dating because there's creatures and shit in it. I
Yeah. You know, and biblical figures like Satan
yeah, yeah,
and a penis in a chariot.
yeah. Well, Volcanion is Satan and Arceus is Jesus. I mean, it's a perfect correlation.
Learn the fucking lore.
Well, Christopher, can you give us your brief history as a young chitlin as a Pokemon fan? Because I know obviously you grew up with the originals and
Yeah,
etc.
I bought the originals. I was one of those kids who had Nintendo Power, so I ended up getting that stupid like 90s is all get out like promotional video they had for everyone where it was like everyone was pretending that they knew who Ash was and he had some correlation to the actual video game.
Okay, you know what? So I've heard the tales of that videotape from so many people, and I was a Nintendo Power subscriber for years, and I never got that video. So when people were telling me about that, I was like, "What are you talking about?" And yeah, they were saying, "Oh yeah, there's like this woman who's like, oh, I'm Ash's mom," and I'm like, "That's not Ash's mom." I later looked this up and I
No,
saw
no,
it
no,
and I was like,
she
"This
was
is
supposed to be like Ash's aunt or something.
oh, yeah, it was so weird."
Dude, that's how fucking much I know about this goddamn series. I know the stupid little idiosyncrasies of that fucking video.
So, so you got this, and we're not turned off by it, which is quite impressive, actually.
Well, no, no, no. I wasn't turned off to it until when people started pretending they were like real live people pretending they knew what was going on in the anime. And even me as a fucking 12-year-old was like, this is fucking stupid. This is really fucking stupid.
And then
You had me at the game, but when we started to pretend like we were role playing in the anime, then shit got a little fucking funky for
yeah,
me.
what? Who would do that? That's stupid.
Oh please,
Anyway,
I fucking did that when I was a kid. I will. I will gladly make myself an asshole for everyone. I used to RP when I was a kid.
Oh. Well, actually, I guess well, we're gonna get to that later, but that actually has somewhat to do with Nuzlocke as well. But so you picked up the game. Any like I guess kind of like super early memories of that time, or like I mean, well, actually, you've been following the franchise pretty much since then. Like you didn't miss any generations because you've been big into Pokemon for a long time, right?
No, I haven't missed any generations. The only games that I am not incredibly familiar with
Uh-huh.
are the Ranger games
Okay.
because I thought it was a cool idea at first, but I just don't remember like what turned me off to the series.
Okay.
I think it was the fact that it was like, oh, you're pseudo catching them all. Why isn't this just a regular game then?
Yeah, actually, I have not had the fortune of playing those yet. I've been told by our buddy Mike Hecht that the Mystery Dungeon games are quite good, but I have not played. I actually have not
Well,
played a
those
lot
were
of the newer
based on
spin-offs.
I thought those games were based on like another game in its own entirety, just with a Pokemon twist to it.
Oh, huh.
Which makes sense because it's pretty much just a fucking dungeon crawler. It's a roguelike with Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I actually haven't played a lot of the newer spin-offs as of like not since like Coliseum, I think, which is bizarre, but
Well, the
but
last one they did was not the last Pokemon Mystery Dungeon they did, but the one before that. They were
mhm,
like significantly like lesser Pokemon to choose from, and it was
huh.
very jarring.
Well, now
I
that
think
we're all into the
because
800s, I mean,
well, yeah, well, the fact was that they were transitioning over from 2D to 3D, so it's like they couldn't put all their eggs in one basket.
oh yeah, that's true. Well, nonetheless, so you've actually also been fairly prominent in a massive different community of artists on DeviantArt for a while. DeviantArt is I've been kind of died down in terms of like its notoriety, and by this point, it's more or less just become like less of a community and more just a gallery for people to post stuff.
Yeah, it kind of transformed into like this big like international phenomenon into like, oh, people still use that. It's become the Friendster of posting your art.
I mean, honestly, like, okay, I'll say this about DA. A lot of people used to rip on it, like, for the community being so, like, stupid or immature or, like, childish or whatever. Honestly, to me, it always was, for me, just a place to post my art. I was never really that enveloped in the community side of it or anything. But that said, you knew quite a bunch of, like, really talented folks who were really big into like this triple threat of Pokemon doing webcomics and playing Nuzlocks and combining all. Well, I mean, Nuzlocks are associated exclusively with Pokemon, as far as I know. Is that or actually okay? I don't even know. Is that true? Are Nuzlocks exclusive to Pokemon specifically?
The basic concept was specifically for Pokemon because I believe how it started was one guy was really not finding the base game interesting,
Hmm.
so he created up his own rule set to make the game more challenging for himself.
Hmm.
And he made a comic based around it. And people like this idea so much that like it was gripping. It was almost as like big as the TV show itself, where it's like people wanted to know, well, what the fuck happens next? Well, I guess you're just gonna have to wait till the next comic to find out. And then people, but and also just the idea, like the guy wasn't even taking it seriously himself. He made a fucking Nuzleaf Nuzlocke for Christ's sake and used a meme face. What, like, for God's sake, like, when you can take something that ridiculous and make people so fucking emotionally involved with it, you've done something pretty fucking hardcore. And now everyone on God's green earth knows what a Nuzlocke is and wants to add it onto their thing. Which,
That said, I feel like this is such a stupid thing I should have missed. For those out there who I guess perhaps don't know, what is a Nuzlocke by definition?
a Nuzlocke by definition is a more difficult way to play Pokemon. How the rules are specified is that you are only allowed to capture one Pokemon per route, be it given, be it traded, or anything. Like, when you enter a brand new zone in the game, you are only allowed to catch one, and if it's in the wild, you have to catch the first one you see. If you kill it or run away from it, you are not allowed to catch anything else afterwards.
Okay.
The second rule is you must always nickname your Pokemon to give it some sort of emotional attachment to it. So if we get to rule 3, when a Pokemon dies in game, you put it in the box or release it, and you never use it ever again, implicating the fact that if your Pokemon dies once, it's dead forever.
Right.
So that emotional attachment comes into place. And then optional rule 4 was to draw it. And then from there, that's where all the bases like is put together. Beyond that is optional.
So the original, like, I'm assuming the first Nuzlocke, which I don't even know what generation it was or when it was,
Third gen.
etc. Okay, so Gen 3, was it Fire Red, Leaf Green, assumingly, or was it Ruby and Sapphire?
Oh, it was Ruby and Sapphire.
Okay. So, well, first of all, who do you remember or know who that original Nuzlocke creator was?
If you asked me right now without looking up some research, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's fair. I wouldn't know either. So I'm assuming that based on what you were talking about, so they, I guess, more or less out of boredom, decided to come up with these rules for playing the game, and then decided to make a comic out of their experiences based on those rules. And basically, so also with the fact that, like, because I think the main draw that people do seem to know, the most baseline specifics about, are if your Pokemon loses a battle, then you have to treat them as if they have died and you cannot use them again. That's more or less what the general sort of deal is. So I mean, in the world of this guy's comic, was it like something more like, I mean, I hesitate to say like mature, but was it something a little bit more like desolate, where it's like, oh, or like desperate, I guess, not desolate, Jesus. We're like, oh no, and this one, like, Pokemon really do fight to the death, or like was it something a little darker like that? Like, what was the whole setup supposed to be?
No, the tone was darker because, Pokemon could die, but it was like there was no shortage of humor. I mean, Christ's sake, most of the Pokemon he captured were meme names. A lot of the Pokemon he drew were stupid on purpose, and a lot of the motives of the NPCs in game were really fucking stupid.
Huh.
And the main character just saw this as like some kind of fucking vision quest to become the best. And watching him like descend from like this guy who's like, yeah, I could possibly do this, to like turning into Rambo with Pokemon was fucking amazing.
So seeing this bizarre sounding comic, which I would be curious to see the very first, if I could track that down someday. So
Just look up Know Your Meme, you'll find it.
Okay, but seeing this is, I'm assuming, is what inspired a whole lot of other people, including you and quite a few friends of yours, to do your own. Because I know that you guys have done your own since then, and if not like full on comics, at least playthroughs. Is that right?
I've done playthroughs and I've done a comic,
Okay.
which was based on that said playthrough.
So tell us about that.
Well, what's there? I did the original Blue because I remember that was the one I had the fondest memories of, and I knew hands down. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So I did that one. I found that it was slightly challenging once I pretty much found like my basic foundation team, and like was able to stick with them, and knowing the game and what's to come really helped in the long run, which can hinder and help an experience, because that's what a lot of people like don't remember, like don't realize when they wanted to make comics or explain their Nuzlocke run. It's that everyone and their mother has most likely has played this fucking game to its core and knows everything about it. So there's really like no challenge. And it's not engaging for people who are going to read this. Your core audience is going to know what's happening. So, the best way to make my Nuzlocke somewhat interesting was pretty much just adding humor to the comic itself, because if everyone knows what's going to happen, everyone knows who's going to be who. So it was changing the characters so they had subtle differences. Not making the entire comic about you, which is what a lot of people didn't fucking realize.
Right. Well, I mean, especially when it's like when they don't have the imagination of like, well, it's about me and my journey and my Pokemon, so why wouldn't it be about just me? But it's like not
Oh yeah, because
everybody.
when I read someone's Nuzlocke, I want to like feel like I'm their fucking armchair psychiatrist.
Well, so what? I'm assuming like did you give like more like material to like the gym leaders or like some of the other like trainers you encountered like that sort of thing or
Well, I remember I distinctly had a joke where Brock was like, "You're gonna go down, you clown," and then the next panel is me dressed as a clown saying, "Your mother."
well, okay, so I mean, so that was so these are the ways that it was lightening up this concept of like Pokemon dying, if that was kind of the whole crux of the concept and everything. So are by and large are most Nuzlocks treated that way, or are there also like serious ones as well?
Uh, it depends on who's doing it because the guys from Team 4 Star are doing their own right now.
Yeah.
People are gonna get fucking crazy butthurt when someone dies,
Uh-huh.
but no, they make jokes out of it because the last one they did, which was I believe was Soul Silver,
Uh-huh.
uh, one of their key players, which was a slow bro, which they called Slow Mara because it was female and it was based on the fucking Ring Girl. Like she ends up dying, and that that was like a fucking hard blow to everyone.
Mm.
But that's what was amazing about it, is that their fucking reaction to it, and then everyone else's reaction to it, and the fucking fan art and fan mail of like saying like, "How could this happen?" and just the legacy of it continuing way to the end. Like they have somehow, which the core crux of the entire Nuzlocke is to feel emotional attachment to the Pokemon. So when something bad happens to it, you're gonna feel it even worse. Has succeeded.
Well, yeah, especially when you have like, I mean, because like I know Pro Jared is also known for a lot of his Nuzlocke, like Twitch streams and stuff like that. When you now have like big, well-known like internet celebs or whatever, doing these kind of Nuzlocks, and then like there's an audience that is getting attached. Because typically, if it's just like for yourself, or for like a small audience like watching a comic or whatever, it's like it brings into a whole new dimension of emotional investment, which I think we've said emotional investment about 8 times in this past 17 minutes. So that's good.
All right.
Nonetheless, so how many have you done one for every generation, or like how many have you done?
Oh fuck no! I'd be
Okay.
here for years.
How many, how,
I done original blue.
mhm.
I've done uh X. Yeah, I've done X1 and X2.
Wait, you mean black and white one and two?
Right. Sorry. Yes. I've done black and white 1 and 2, and I am currently doing Sun.
Okay. Have you done X as well?
Yes, I have done X.
Okay. Yeah, see, it's interesting because weirdly, somehow I missed Pokemon X and Y, the games, that is. Um, but I've been told by people, because like a lot of folks were saying, oh, like that's like one of the easiest Pokemon games, which I was like, oh, okay, that's strange. But I imagine that game, and maybe even Sun and Moon, because Sun and Moon is like, at least from the part that I'm up to at the moment, is like relatively easy if you like know what you're doing. Not like to like an unfun degree or whatever, because it seems like this one is being a little bit, bless you, a little bit more well received in terms of the difficulty spike compared to X and Y, because a lot of people were saying that one was way too easy. But I imagine
Oh,
that,
dude, no, this one is like fucking Sun and Moon is okay. I guess I understand why they're babying me because it's the fucking it's the tutorial levels. They're easing you into the game. Oh shit, they expect you to know the meta game at the late game.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm still only on the third island, so I haven't,
Oh, dude, trust me, the difficulty scaling fucking like makes a turn at the best point.
Oh, okay. I am noticing. I've gone to. I'll just say without spoiling stuff for myself or you or anybody listening. I have gone to the Aether Paradise, and now I'm on the third islands. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
where I'm at. And
You're slowly gonna start seeing that difficulty curve, but it's not gonna be terrible. It's gonna be challenging but fun.
yes, that is. Well, also Mike Lucas just traded me a Vulpix that's a little bit of the lower level, and I'm training him. So it's been also a little bit more difficult just because the wild Pokemon I'm fighting are like in their 40s at the moment. But nonetheless, I guess well, and actually I don't know if like there are other individual rules that are set specifically for each of the generations because of the mild changes in like the metagame and some of the battle system mechanics and things like that.
No. Throughout most of the games, the core purpose and rules of a Nuzlocke have pretty much been deadlocked for the entire time.
Okay.
I have seen people do quote unquote hard mode, which is don't use healing items, and the most egregious one, which I don't believe I'd ever fucking do in my entire existence of playing this game, don't use the Pokemon Center.
Okay, I could understand. Or actually, hold on. Do you mean one or the other? Like either you can use healing items and no Pokemon Center, or you can use the Pokemon Center but no healing items, or
Sometimes
both?
both. Sometimes both.
No, fuck
Yeah,
that
well,
shit.
both is like, okay, you obviously fucking hate yourself.
Uh-huh.
And one or the other is pushing it. I think the only one I would ever consider is using items and no Pokemon Center,
Uh-huh.
but I have to have absolutely all the time in the world on my hands to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I even then, like, I would want to know that game tremendously well before I were to do that, honestly.
Well, that's the thing, like you were saying before, like with Pro Jared and TeamFourStar doing their Nuzlocks and shit,
Yeah.
where like everyone like has to know shit to a degree and everything. That's the thing is that and these games getting progressively easier and specifically for the purpose of nuzlocking, people who are gonna nuzlock this shit like are either A, fans of the game, or B, know everything there is to know about Pokemon, that of course it's gonna be easy for them.
Right.
So the core audience of a Nuzlocke is gonna find this easy to any sort of degree.
Right.
The only way the game's gonna ever fucking throw you for a loop is that you have never played Pokemon, you have never played the gen you're about to pick up to do this on, or you've never known what a fucking Nuzlocke was, and this is the first time you've ever done it.
Well, no, it's interesting because, like for instance, my friend Kadjit, he is playing Pokemon Sun and Moon right now. I forget which version he has, but he is going in blind and doing a Nuzlocke. And every other day, my timeline has been filled with notifications of, well, my Aerodactyl's dead. Well, my Eradicate's dead. Well, my whatever's dead, and I got to put this in the box. And I was like, oh my god. And
Yeah,
like
no,
like
this game, Sun and Moon, is fucking like this game. People are like, "Oh, the basic game's easy. I wonder how the Nuzlocke's gonna be." No, the Nuzlocke's gonna kill you. The Nuzlocke wants you dead.
I mean, well, I know, and also I believe the TFS guys are also doing a Nuzlocke of Moon blind right now. And
Yes.
I've not been following that, but I mean, I can imagine that based on what may or may not be coming up, that they're gonna not have a very good time coming up soon.
Oh no, I've beaten the game already.
Okay.
I am at like fucking new game plus 3 right now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
There is and let me rephrase that. There is no new game plus, but there's something that they added into the Pokemon League that makes it interesting each time.
Okay. I unfortunately did have a mild thing about the Pokemon League spoiled for me that I won't even say. And that just has to do with like every timeline of mine is like somebody is going to fucking put something somewhere, and I can't do anything about that. But it is what it is. Nonetheless, I see, and that's the thing though. While Steve Yurko was saying like, oh god, I would never be able to do a Nuzlocke of a game I'd never played before because that would be way too like intimidating. And I can totally understand because like I would be super fearful to do that, but I do totally get the appeal of how fucking exciting that must be, because it really puts because here's the thing, Pokemon games are still, when it gets down to it, they're kids games. They're very very super fucking fun, like enjoyable for all ages games that are incredibly well polished. They're well constructed. They're amazing. It's not to take anything away from them, but they are kids games. And
Well,
so,
well, here's the thing I'm going to say about that real quick
sure,
before you continue.
sure.
Yes, they're kids games, but they're made by adults.
Let's just sit
Hello?
on that for a while.
Yeah, I know, but like that's the thing. Like when people say like, "Oh, but it's a kids thing," yeah, but 9 times out of 10, a kids thing is made by adults.
Sure. Well,
So,
okay. Well, let me put it this way. Let me actually. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that as opposed to kids game, because you know what? Also, we're in our fucking 20s and 30s and we're playing Pokemon. So what the fuck does that even matter anyway?
I'm in my
Pokemon
30s and I'm
games.
playing Mario. What the fuck?
Well, that too. Pokemon games are inherently, compared to the likes of, like a, I don't know, like a Shin Megami Tensei or a Final Fantasy, like they're not super difficult, hardcore traditional RPG games.
Oh yeah, I know. Babby's first
Yeah,
Babby's first RPG.
yeah, but that's the thing though. That's not with any kind of like of offense whatsoever. That's why I like them, and that's why I personally tend to like them a lot more than the more complicated traditional, like a Dragon Quest or whatever. And that's not, again, I'm sounding super fucking PC with everything here. That's not to insult those hardcore RPG games either.
But fuck them. But
Yeah,
fuck them.
but fuck them. No, the Pokemon's the only good one. No, but like I am a simple, straightforward kind of gamer, and Pokemon was after Mario RPG the first RPG game that I had ever really played in the late '90s. So for me, having something with that simplistic of a battle system, and also it being very unique and everything. So but what I'm saying is I think that giving those kind of self-imposed rules, I totally understand the appeal of like how exciting that must be for people when it's like, okay, I know these games super well, like even like going in and playing a new one blind. That's still based off the fact that okay, I've played a previous Pokemon game and I enjoyed it. I want to try this because it sounds interesting and exciting, and like the stakes are really high. Like sorry, that was the point I was going to get to. Is like in Pokemon, it's nowadays when you kind of look back on it, like stakes in that game aren't always, I guess, super difficult to manifest because it's like, okay, if you lose a battle, just like with most of these kind of games, you just go back to the save point and you try again, and that's it. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then you just fight the Elite Four however many times it takes until you eventually defeat them. But when it's like, oh no, if you lose, then that's the whole point, is like, you can't do it anymore. In which case, like, when you lose all of your Pokemon, do you have to start over, like, from the ground up? Is that kind of what the implication is supposed to be?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had to do that?
I have never suffered a total party wipeout.
Okay.
However, I was very close to one. I had lost all but one Pokemon in my black and white run.
Okay.
And the game threw me for a loop where it was like, it's like that credits game where it's the credits fight where it's like you have to fight the real rival or fight the legendary Pokemon. What was that big fucking titan of a human being that like was crying over one like black colored
AZ. That's X and Y though, not black.
right? See, like, yeah, look how fucking perfect I am at this fucking series.
It's okay. You're not.
But yeah.
Turns out Zito was just a Digimon fan the whole time. He was lying to us. Anyway, carry on.
Don't ask me about Digimon, dude. I have no idea what the fuck's going on with that series. What are those, Beyblades?
Yes. Yeah. You got it.
So yeah. In that game, I almost suffered a total party wipeout at the Elite Four. I think the last Pokemon I had was like a Pidgeotto at like 12 HP. So the AZ fight happens, and I'm like, well, shit. I can only use one, but the game sets me up to use all six.
Well,
I somehow survived, but I like fucking went through. I had more difficulty going through that fight alone with just a fucking Pidgeotto than using the rest of my team, because it was like, okay, take a hit, all right, full restore, take a hit, full restore. Fuck, I'm running out of these things.
did you know that was coming up? I mean, you had played that ahead of time.
No,
so,
I didn't.
Wait, you didn't know?
That was a blind run.
Okay. So you did go in blind to X and Y doing a Nuzlocke.
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I guess you picked one that was, again, less difficult, but good God. Wow. Okay, so literally the final battle of that game was what almost completely fucking destroyed you.
Yeah, the one that like threw you for a loop. It's like, okay, now you must fight me. What? No! No!
Wow. Oh my God. Well, I guess kind of on that note too, I was going to ask if you had any other stories specifically about when you had done your runs. I mean, I'm assuming you haven't done a comic for every single one of your Nuzlocke runs before.
No, the last time I did a comic was for Blue.
Okay.
And I only got to a certain point where I had to stop.
Okay. Well, actually, what was because I know I've seen bits of it, but it's been a really long time. What was kind of I guess like the story premise, as it were, of your Pokemon Blue Nuzlocke comic?
It was what it was.
It just was literally the playthrough of the game.
Yeah, it was just a playthrough of a bunch of fucking like not 10-year-olds, but like, okay, you just gave fucking You just gave us an 18-year-old a Pokemon. What's gonna happen? There's gonna be cockfights, you idiot. Let's make jokes about it.
What was your team in that one, if you remember?
I remember the Pokemon that carried me through the entire game was a Venusaur, a Raticate, a Nidoqueen, and a Kadabra.
Okay, so that was your.
The other two were so interchangeable in late game that I don't remember. I think I only lost two Pokemon, which was a Jolteon and a Magmar,
Oh, okay.
which
Oh,
sucks because that was fucking insane that I even caught one.
yeah, Magmars are difficult.
Oh, and
They're
I
only in
can't.
the
I also
mansion.
can't. On a side note, I can't believe we live in a fucking world where Abras are vendor trash in Wonder Trade this gen.
What, do you get like a billion of them now?
Oh yeah, no, there's some kind of like cultural meme in Japan to
Huh.
Wonder Trade Abras away. They're the new Raticate of this gen for Wonder Trade.
Is that a thing that like was happening with previous games or?
No, it's just out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, Abra's now the new Rattata of this
Oh,
Wonder gen.
I haven't even like come across a fucking.
I did an experiment last night.
Hmm.
I created an entire box full of Togepi's and Wonder Trade them all to see what I would get.
Mhm.
I would say about 21 to 28% of people who Wonder Trade are not assholes.
Huh. Well, I've not used it because I've only caught like my main team, and now I'm beginning to catch a couple of other Pokemon as well. I was an idiot and didn't realize that. Oh, I should be catching a lot of them. Oh, I'm dumb. I have not been catching Pokemon this whole time because I'm a
Yeah,
silly Billy.
this game kind of hammers into you like Sun and Moon hammers into you early. Don't have like multiple of one type.
Oh, really? Huh.
Especially when late game comes around. The game expects you like to be a master at synergy.
Well, I have my current team with Sun and Moon, and I'll probably be. I think Mike and Steve are gonna do a Sun and Moon review Kirblog with me once we all finish the game eventually, because they're actually around the same area that I am at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of like I spent like 2 days playing the game and I kind of blazed through it.
Hmm.
Like this is a normal run just to see what was going on because I wasn't gonna sit around and wait for a Nuzlocke to fucking dictate me seeing new shit.
Well, regarding a lot of the other ones that you've done, do you have any other kind of funny or interesting stories about stuff that had happened when you were playing it, like uh, that you can remember
Oh
from the
yes,
other ones?
yes, I do.
Sure, go for it.
So in Gen 1, your speed dictated how much you did criticals.
Okay.
So I I made a comic. There was one comic where we got to Brock, and I only had a Nidoran female, a Rattata, and Bulbasaur. Now, by all intents and purposes, if Bulbasaur didn't carry me through the entire fight, I would have been fucked.
Hmm.
But I didn't tell anyone this in the comic yet. But I had a Rattata whose criticals were asinine. So there's a Rattata versus a Geodude. One scratch, the thing is at red.
Well,
I literally had a fucking shining burning finger Rattata.
wait. So you leveled it up that much before you got to Brock?
No, I didn't. I got to level 10 and it was doing that fucking crazy damage to rock types.
What? Wait, but are
Because
like
it's the crit speed. It's
oh
speed. Because of its speed, it constantly just kept dealing crits.
wow. It's weird because like Bulbasaur for me was one of the hardest to like break through because his attacks weren't actually like that strong against Brock's Pokemon. So like for me it was always like, oh yeah, no, Bulbasaur for some reason he was like harder to get through with the first game than than even Charmander I remember being difficult to use.
Well, if in Sun in what is it, Red and Blue? Yeah, in Red and Blue, if you pick Charmander, you were pretty much fucked until like the fourth gym.
Yeah. But somehow most of America made it because it seemed like Charizard was the most heavily picked starter for people.
Nah, I'm unfortunately I kind of like created this theme for myself where no matter which gen I get, I have to start with a grass type.
Well, you do love your burbs, so I'm sure you love Rowlet.
Well, yeah, I like Rowlet, but I also wouldn't have mind getting the seal. The only one I didn't care about was the fucking cat because that third evolution looks stupid.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? What are you saying about my fucking Heatcliff? Huh? You wanna go? I'll battle you right now. You'll kick my ass, but I'll battle you just for the pride
Yeah,
side
I'm
of
just
it.
like, you don't want that,
No, he's
dude.
like, no, no, you silly child.
All right, silly child. Come at me with what's your guys at? What level?
I'm in like the 40s and 50s.
Oh, that's cute.
Uh,
I have like fucking 4 post-game teams ready to go.
Shitballs. You're just like fucking Gary over here, like, yeah, I've caught like 200 Pokemon. I got like 10 badges. Yeah, smell you later. Do 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 do
Yeah,
do
I
do.
have that pissed me off. I have 10 badges. What was it? Oh yeah, I have 10 badges. A couple of badges that aren't even fucking official in the Pokemon League. What?
Yeah, no, I always kind of took it as like the show was insinuating that there were other gyms other than the 8 that happened to be in the game that just we don't see, and those are done by because it's
But
like
that pissed me off because I'm
I
just
can't
like,
imagine by the show's logic that everybody was finding Blaine's super secret fucking volcano gym or whatever. There had to have been other ones that were around, but nonetheless. I mean, I guess in Black and White there were other ones too because they had like what's his face, the surfer dude guy, and all that shit. But and
are we talking about Crusher Wake or was that Gen 4? That was Gen
no,
4.
in Black and White too, they had the poison girl and the surfer guy, and like I think in the show Ash.
That was 2. That was
Yeah,
2.
yeah, but like in the show, I remember I think Ash fought against the poison girl instead of one of the other ones, and then he meets another kid who fights the surfer water guy from Black and White too. So I think like it's fair to accept like, oh yeah, there's possible for there to be more than 8 gyms. You just have to have 8 badges to compete in the Pokemon League. But
Well, and also remember they're fucking government agents.
yeah, and
Which is
taking-
what really pissed me. I know we're going beyond Nuzlocke here, but fucking that pissed me off about Sabrina in the original series. Like even as a kid, I realized like, do these people not fucking realize that, like being a Pokemon gym leader is the same as being a fucking marshal for like a cop, or like for this, you are pretty much in all intents and purposes, you're a guardian for a city.
I feel like the anime was having a little too much fun with the whole like I have this deep evil past and my father and I turned
Yeah,
my
and I'm
mom
like,
into a
why is
plushie
it
and
the
I'm like
Why isn't the fucking Pokemon League coming down on Sabrina with a fucking army?
that was one of Lisa Ortiz's first characters in the show actually, and now she's fucking directing the series.
Awesome.
But nonetheless, anyway, yeah. So you've done what about 4 or 5 different Nuzlocke runs between different generations.
I'm gonna say we're up to 4 now, including Sun.
Okay. What has been the one that you've had like the most amount of fun with overall,
The most fun?
or
I wanna
the most like interesting and exciting and like engaging kind of one that you've had?
Red and Blue was the one.
Okay, so
Gen
the
1,
original.
Gen 1 was my
So you,
original.
so you peaked at your first one, and you've never been able to capture that same magic since then.
Pretty much, you know, you're not wrong.
Well, what do you think that is?
I'm not gonna say nostalgia because if we were based on that, like what I was talking about before, it was like, oh well, I already know what's gonna happen in the game, so it's like, why the fuck even bother?
Well, I mean, if you were to suggest people try a Nuzlocke, would you suggest them try it with the original game, or?
I would say if you're gonna do that, don't do well, Red and Blue has some kind of like special little factor because of like all those little exploits, and if you know what that is and those work in your favor, they can have hilarious results.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
it has the most like different
like the
battle system compared to everything else now.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say if you want to like start a Nuzlocke and for the first time and like you want like a proper experience with like all like the most modern sort of shit up to date,
Yeah.
do Fire Red game.
Okay.
That's a good one to start off with.
I actually wonder about how difficult it is to track down Fire Red and Leaf Green today, because I'm sure they probably want you to just play the eShop
Legally,
versions
yeah,
of the.
legally, yeah, it'll be a
Yeah,
little
well,
different.
legally, we want you to buy it. Obviously, well, of course, the original Red, Blue, and Yellow are in the eShop, which I'm sure that is probably what they want you to play because you can transfer your Pokemon from those onto your Sun and Moon cart, which is cool. But
But it
nonetheless.
won't be available for fucking Sun and Moon until January.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay, I thought people were carrying them over.
Yeah,
already.
no, the bank is closed down because they're updating for all the new Pokemon. But the problem is that to do that would fucking cause server meltdowns like crazy.
I'll bet.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's not functioning right now.
Okay.
It's actually closed off. So until January, they're going to bring it back up with everything up to speed.
Huh. Well, nonetheless, I guess, oh, actually, here's a question. So, a lot of other people have done other Nuzlocke comics in the past. The only other one that I had seen, aside from the little bits of yours, were I don't know if you still talk to this guy or know of him, but Ace of Abra and his comic, which I thought, I don't know if it ever finished necessarily, but that was one that I
God,
followed.
I haven't spoken to him in fucking decades.
Oh, okay.
No, like I know who he is, and he's a great guy. It's just that once our site fell apart and we kind of went on with our lives, we haven't spoken to each other since.
Oh, did you guys have like a separate website for hosting your comics?
We did, but that fell apart instantly
okay.
because we realized that the real world doesn't contort to just
Yeah.
comics, you know.
Well, that said, are there any Nuzlocke comics or playthroughs or adventures or other things that you would recommend by other people that you think are really good?
It's gonna be a plug, but the TFS one right now.
Well, of course, obviously, but we talked about that one. I mean, well, also comics specifically, like other ones that you've seen, because I'm sure you probably know of a lot more of them than I do.
Well, if you asked me this a couple of years ago, I would have known. I know. I'm not even sure if there's there used to be a Nuzlocke website specifically for the original creator, and then if you went to the forums, sort of like MS Paint Adventures, where if you went to the forums, there's people who post up all their own stuff, but finding good ones is like a diamond in the rough situation.
Actually, here's a question too. I meant to ask this earlier. Where does the word Nuzlocke originate from?
That was the name of the guy's Nuzleaf.
Oh, okay. So
The original creator called his Nuzleaf Nuzlocke,
uh-huh.
and that was like the character he primed up and made the most memey out of all of them.
Okay.
So that just stuck around, and then people then he started I don't remember who coined the phrase as the whole entire game's premise, but since Nuzleaf was the star of the show, that pretty much became the name of the entire franchise.
Okay. I always kind of presumed also maybe the lock part was because of you were locking down a lot of the features of the game and just playing almost kind of like a bare bones or not bare bones but more like a traditional RPG, almost like a Fire Emblem type thing where it's people.
Yeah,
fucking
it's
die
not
and
as
they die for
flowery.
good.
It's not as flowery as you think it is. It literally is. This kid, listen to me. This guy did this for shits and giggles. And it just so happened that this thing he was doing for shits and giggles became this fucking phenomenon that everyone's trying to recreate for themselves.
Well,
Just how all good things go. Fucking Twitch plays Pokemon. Now that guy who built that code has that code on every other fucking website. Remember fucking Potato plays Pokemon? That was ridiculous.
Well, I guess my last question would be, if somebody out there were to want to start playing their own Nuzlocke run, is there any advice or pointers or anything at all that you would give to advise them out of curiosity?
To advise them, if you want to play it, go for it. It's a challenge. Just know that there will be points where you're gonna say "Oh, I want to break the rules and shit." If you want to break the rules, that's fine. Then just don't play it Nuzlocke. Play it the normal way. Play it like everyone else does.
You gotta be committed.
Well, yeah. There also is a little bit of commitment to this because what's the point in doing this and have to restart the game all over again and flake yourself out if you want to play with this way, you know? I know it's gonna sound stupid. It's like I didn't choose this life. This life chose me, sort of situation.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of it is that you're choosing to play the game this way because this is exciting. It's this is how I get off now. I can't play Pokemon unless I know they're gonna die. But I mean,
well, no, or you could do it the way I've been doing it, which is this is because I'm also a fan of the series. But if money's an issue, please don't fucking do this. But I bought Sun and Moon. I bought Sun for the pure reason to Nuzlocke, and I bought Moon just to fucking play the game because it's a new gen and I want to see shit.
oh, okay.
But if you want to do shit like I did for Black and White, then you would have to have a lot more commitment not to spoil yourself because while I didn't enjoy like I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy like going in blind. It was a challenge because I almost got a fucking total party wipeout at the Elite Four,
Uh-huh.
and that would have sucked. But if you don't feel like if that doesn't scare you, then buy a game blind or download or whatever, what have you. Find a game that you know that you've never played before and try it blind. And if that doesn't do anything for you and you'd like to like have at least a little bit more knowledge, then pick a game that you've done in the past.
I actually also do like the idea of like if you bought one version and you played that normally, bless you, and
I don't
you're sneezy dwarf today,
Yeah, right.
and then if you were to buy the other version, like if you had the money to pick up the other version that you didn't have before, use that for Nuzlocke. I think Mike Lucas was saying that he might even maybe do that for Pokemon Sun, or no, sorry for Moon that is because he bought Pokemon Sun. You know what? Maybe someday, maybe I might even give that a shot. I would be
Well, here's
kind
the
of
thing about
curious.
Sun and Moon Nuzlocking right now. Um, I don't know what the rules are outstanding it, but I'm sure you know that in the game there's like, okay, here's your house outskirts, here's Route 1 outskirts, here's Route 1 main road.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nitpicking going on of people saying like, oh, well, this means that you're only allowed to catch something on Route 1, but like they don't account for the extra zones that the route has.
Oh, huh.
So it's like no one knows right now for sure if it's like Route 1 is like the main focal point of you being able to catch one thing, which is what's making Nuzlocking difficult for Sun and Moon right now. It's because if that's what we're going to be going for, then the player's not going to have like more than 5 Pokemon by the time they get to the second island.
Um, huh. Yeah. Well, I guess the community is gonna have to like figure that out as to like, okay, what's
Well,
fair in this game?
if I want this to be fair and fun, I'm gonna do it based on like, okay, well, here's Route 1, but a different zone.
Right.
Like here's Route 1 outskirts. Here's Route 1 main road. Whenever I see the bottom tag change from underneath Route 1, I'm gonna catch something.
Perhaps TFS should let you do a Nuzlocke on the gaming channel at some point, since you are the more experienced one compared to the others.
Oh, please, that's not true.
I mean, well. That said, I guess anything you want to plug regarding the like what you're up to and what the guys are up to and everything.
Well, right now we're just doing a Persona 4 playthrough. So if
That's
you
you
want
and
to,
Taka, yeah.
yeah, if you want to see me and Taka fumble around in a fucking Persona game and hear me bitch about how 2 is better than 4,
Oh no.
yeah, I start that shit. It's not about waifus. It's now about which version is better with me. But
Well,
yeah, watch us on TFS Gaming. If you want to watch a Nuzlocke right now, we've actually migrated from YouTube to Twitch for streaming. So if you want to watch the guys play stuff on Twitch, that would be StreamFourStar.
that's twitch.tv/stream4star.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'll have a link to that. And where can they find you?
Well, you can find me mostly on Twitter these days at CZ-backlash.
And you still post on Tumblr? Zito is Nito or Zito is art, right?
Zito is Nino and Zito is art. If you want to like, but like I only post like art sometimes. I barely go to Tumblr anymore.
Okay. I don't blame you. Cool. Awesome. Well, Christopher, thank you for joining me yet again. This was fun. And that's going to wrap us up. So everybody in the comments below, have you tried a Nuzlocke? Are you too afraid to try Nuzlocks? Has this made you want to try one? Have you any memories of any particular Nuzlocke comics or playthroughs that you really enjoyed? Do you have any stories to tell, first or second hand? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to check out Zito on his stuff and the TFS Gaming channel and watch all that jazz and everything. And I don't know what the next Kirblog will be for Pokecember, but look forward to it for Saturday of this next upcoming weekend. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Later.